Welcome to an alternate past. Today's video is, what if Napoleon had won the Battle of Waterloo? Imagine a world where Napoleon Bonaparte, one of history's greatest military strategists, had won the Battle of Waterloo. How dramatically different would our current world look? On June 18, 1815, Napoleon faced off against the Duke of Wellington and his allies. A victory here could have entirely altered the balance of power in Europe and the world. In a landscape where the French Empire remained dominant, the destinies of countless nations and millions of individuals would have been remarkably different. Initially, consider the immediate aftermath of a French victory at Waterloo. European coalitions formed to oppose France would have crumbled. Without this pivotal loss, the Seventh Coalition, including Britain, Prussia, Russia, and Austria, would have been forced to negotiate with a victorious France. Napoleon was well known for his brilliant diplomatic maneuvers, often manipulating alliances to his benefit. The collapse of the coalition would have opened the door for France to reassert its influence over much of Europe, potentially leading to a new order dominated by French hegemony. This scenario would likely have drastically changed the political evolution of European nations. For instance, Britain, facing a triumphant Napoleon, might have turned inward, focusing exclusively on its empire rather than continental affairs. This shift could have significantly altered the future trajectory of the British Empire and even its eventual decline. Prussia and Austria, having repeatedly lost to Napoleonic forces, might have fragmented or fallen under French control, delaying or forever changing the path to German and Italian unification. The ripple effects would extend far beyond Europe. Consider the fate of the Americas. At that time, many Latin American countries fought for independence from colonial powers. A strengthened Napoleonic France might have sent forces across the Atlantic to reclaim or support allies in these revolutions. This shift could have meant a longer, bloodier struggle for independence in places like Colombia, Mexico, and Argentina. Fewer resources for the British Empire might have also delayed or altered the course of the War of 1812, potentially changing the young United States' development. Similarly, the impact on Africa and Asia would have been profound. European colonial expansion was in full swing during this period. A victorious Napoleon, with his grand ambitions, would likely have usurped more territories in both continents quicker and more aggressively. The history of Indonesia, India, North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa could be marred with heavy French influence, affecting the languages, cultures, and economic structures far into the modern age. The slave trade, too, might have persisted much longer if France redirected British abolitionist efforts. Scientific and cultural progress would not be immune to this upheaval. Napoleon himself was a patron of the sciences and education, establishing institutions like the Lycée and the Napoleonic Code. Yet, his repressive military campaigns also devastated regions, ruining livelihoods and displacing countless families. Had he won, it is worth pondering if Europe might have seen an even steeper divide between technological advancement and the suffering of common people. The arts, too, would reflect this dichotomy, depicting glory and suffering in equal measure. International relations during the 19th and 20th centuries would be another domain potentially turned upside down. The balance of power, disrupted by Napoleon's victory, might have warded off the Crimean War, the Franco-Prussian War, or even both world wars as we know them. Or alternatively, it could have sparked even more devastating conflicts earlier in history. Nationalism, imperialism, and militarism might have taken new, unpredictable paths, leading to different alliances, enmities, and global policies. Even the cultural and ideological aftermath would be monumental. Enlightenment ideals spread by the French Revolution might have gained worldwide precedence. However, the lack of checks on Napoleonic power could have seen these ideologies twisted to justify prolonged authoritarian rule. The rise of socialism, communism, fascism, and other influential political philosophies might have taken entirely different paths or been stunted altogether. Lastly, think of individuals whose lives would be indelibly affected. Millions who were victims of war, slavery, colonialism, and oppression might have faced very different futures. The demographic makeup of countries, the flow of immigrants, and the foundation of multicultural societies would have been inextricably altered. The winds of global migration and the legacy of diaspora communities would map an alternate, equally haunting narrative. In summary, if Napoleon had won the Battle of Waterloo, the ensuing historical trajectory would have been a cataclysmic shift from the known reality. Political realignments, colonial ambitions, military conflicts, cultural developments, and individual lives would have diverged in numerous ways. This single event could have set off a cascading transformation that would redefine our modern world forever.